winds right now. Of course, the National Weather Service is going to be out surveying multiple areas in wave country as we continue throughout the day today. So we'll continue to watch that very, very closely. But what we're dealing with right now is a little bit more of that light rain, some drizzle pushing through parts of wave country, some more of that steady rain for those of you further to the south in Adair County. This is where the majority of our rain is going to be for today. As you look to the north, just some areas of drizzle here and there, especially from the New Haven area all the way over towards E-Town. And we're seeing some more of that drizzle even pushing into portions of southern Indiana right now. Your temperatures are mainly in the upper 40s and low 50s across the region at the moment. So we're off to a mild start for today. And over the next 12 hours, we're going to watch for some more of that rain moving through as we get into the mid-morning. So I'm talking closer to 10, 11 o'clock. But as we get into the afternoon, we're going to gradually dry out. So you will need the rain gear for today at some point, especially if you are south of the parkways. Your rain chance is highest compared to everyone else's. As we get into the afternoon, drier temperatures hovering in the 50s. Now, we are going to see some warmer weather and drier weather returning. That happens starting tomorrow. We're going to get to keep that dry weather for quite a while. Let you know how long that's going to last, plus the warm up coming our way for next week in just a bit.
All right, we're looking forward to that warm up. We deserve it, that's for sure. Thank you, Tawana. Well, speaking of those storms, the National Weather Service will be back out today surveying several counties in our area, and you can see them right here on this map. As of now, they've confirmed at least one tornado touched down in Louisville yesterday. In a press conference about the damage, Mayor Craig Greenberg says at least one person is dead and another in the hospital. Louisville Metro's emergency call center received over 1,000 calls. Most of them came in around 5 o'clock when a tornado touched down near Newburgh. The National Weather Service's preliminary investigation says at least it's an EF1. Strong winds broke power lines, collapsed walls, and took roofs off apartment complexes. Mayor Greenberg said in a press conference late last night that a lot of roads are blocked by trees. Crews are working to clean up and restore traffic in those areas.
Responded to well over 25 incidents specific to the storm. Several of those incidents could have included an additional 10 incidents, meaning that one incident was basically a neighborhood. There were several neighborhoods that had a lot of extensive damage with a lot of trees on the houses, a lot of power poles down.
The National Weather Service says the winds in Newburgh reached 90 miles per hour.
78 miles per hour at Ali International. March 3rd, we had 79 miles an hour. I've never seen a windier year ever in my life than this winter.
Wednesday marks the second time in the past month that Louisville has reached the second strongest winds ever recorded. About 50 people are waking up without an apartment to call home in the PRP neighborhood. Wind tore the roof off of units at the Oaks at St. Andrews on Brooklawn Drive. Wave News reporter Josh Ninke is out there live with us this morning. And Josh, it is just a scary scene right there behind you.
Olivia, I'm just glad that people were just hurt. No one died in what happened yesterday. That's the latest that we've heard. I want you to look behind me because this building just to my right is the one that had the roof completely blown off. You can see a lot of that ran into this tree right here behind me, and a lot of the tree fell down with it, smashing some cars behind. There's plenty of roof right here that is just scattered about, wires essentially everywhere. Power is still out in this section of everything. And I want you to take a closer look over here at this actual building. You can still see the concrete A-frame where it would have been connected to the rest of the roof right here, but just absolutely destroyed, blown away by those winds yesterday. Still not sure exactly how fast those winds were blowing in this area. We actually were out here live with someone who saw exactly what happened. One of the maintenance workers, Rich Crawford, saw what was happening and helped rescue someone out of one of these units. Here's what he had to say about everything that happened here in just a matter of moments yesterday.
When I saw it at first, I didn't know what I was seeing. I was like, did I just see that? It was just, I thought it was shingles and some wood. I didn't realize it was the whole roof until I got around here, till I ran up here.
That whole roof blew right into the next building and just destroyed plenty of units right here. Like we mentioned, about 50 people displaced from this area. Red Cross is helping them out, and we've seen LG&E crews out here trying to get power restored to all the other units out here that weren't affected by these severe winds. Of course, we'll be keeping an eye on what exactly happened out here as the National Weather Service continues to survey the area and check out what happened. Live here in PRP, Josh Ninke, Wave News.
All right, we're just glad people are getting some help help out there, that's for sure. Thank you, Josh. Well, the power of the wind not only ripping off roofs and tree branches, but taking out walls of buildings. This video is from Waterson Park. This is drone video from our crews of the Dash Mart on Robards Lane. The Dash Mart serves as a sort of grocery store controlled by DoorDash. You can see they lost the entire backside of the building. The company released a statement that said in part, quote, "We're incredibly relieved no one was seriously injured at the site and that our team members are safe. Our immediate focus is on supporting our team members after this harrowing event. We're continuing to assess the damage and will suspend operations at the site until further notice." Here's more damage caught on camera, this time in the Bon Air neighborhood. You can see that big tree down on a house on Goldsmith Lane near Heather Lane. There's heavy damage to that home, but we don't know if anyone was hurt. 17,000 people were without power at one point last night. Look at this mangled mess of power lines and utility poles. That was after the storm moved along Fern Valley Road. Right now, LG&E has hundreds of crews out there trying to restore electricity. But you can see this is going to take some work. With wind gusts reported up to 79 miles per hour, it's no wonder that many people are waking up without power this morning. This is a live look at the LG&E outage map. Right now, there are more than 10,000 outages. If you need to report an outage, you can visit the website at the bottom of your screen. You can also call the power company or use the app. We also have instructions on our website, wave3.com. So to keep up with all the latest breaking weather and traffic, you can download the Wave Weather app. It especially came in handy on yesterday's alert day. You can find it in the Google and Apple app stores. So Tawana, what are the next 12 hours looking like?
Over the next 12, what we're going to be seeing some more of that rain pushing in mainly for Kentucky. We're not expecting any severe weather today, just some steady rain at times. As we get into the afternoon, we're going to be gradually drying out. For those of you south of the parkways, you're going to be the last ones to see the rain moving out. Now, in terms of what we're dealing with on the roads, one stalled vehicle showing up on 65, but that is not causing any significant issues. But don't forget, we do have quite a few power outages around the city, still a number of trees down and branches down, so please be careful as you're traveling and treat those lights that are out as four-way stops. We'll talk a little bit more about some really nice weather coming our way as we head into the holiday weekend in just a bit.
This is Wave News Sunrise.
A destructive storm system turned deadly on Wednesday, and Kentucky wasn't the only state affected. Missouri, Iowa, and Illinois also took a punch. Kelowna, Illinois is still assessing major damage after they were hit by a tornado. In Iowa, tornadoes were not the only weather threat. Hail the size of baseballs were also reported there and in several cities across the Midwest. In the South, more hail was reported in parts of Texas, Oklahoma, and Arkansas. Officials in Indiana have toured the Sullivan area after the deadly weather ravaged multiple states over the weekend and into this week. The Indiana Department of Homeland Security Executive Director wrote in a Facebook post that damage assessments are ongoing. Indiana Governor Eric Holcomb added 5 counties to the state's disaster declaration request, bringing the total up to 7 counties asking for help after the severe weather left several dead in the area. A tornado ripped through Bollinger County, Missouri, leaving a trail of widespread damage. Missouri State Patrol says there are 5 people dead and multiple injuries reported, but the exact numbers aren't known yet. Authorities are asking people to avoid the area as crews are searching the debris to make sure everyone is accounted for. A command center has been set up as hundreds of people are without power. Governor Mike Parson spoke after touring the damage.
I think when you look at the devastation of this, it's going to be weeks upon months to be able to recover. It's a long journey ahead for the people that live here.
An emergency order remains in effect for the state of Missouri. It was activated last week following that initial round of severe weather. And as we think about all that, Tawana, I mean, we can handle just plain rain, but the tornadoes, all those winds and stuff, it's been a busy week.
It really has been. So we're going to continue to keep an eye on everything in regards to that as we move forward. So a lot to watch in terms of the cleanup process across the country as we move forward, of course, after all of these storms and all this wind that we've seen recently. So what we're dealing with right now here in the Weather Garden, it's a bit cool out here, so maybe some light jacket weather, that's for sure. But the one thing that I've noticed, the tulips are starting to bloom here in the Weather Garden. That kind of puts a little bit of a bright spot on your face after everything we dealt with yesterday. So here's what we're seeing in terms of the current weather conditions. 51 degrees here in the Wave Weather Garden. So as I mentioned, a little bit cool. And keep in mind, a lot of you are going to be sitting around this spot temperature-wise as the day continues. Now, while we have no rain falling here downtown Louisville, there's a little bit of drizzle trying to show up in portions of southern Indiana, so keep an eye out for that. And even into portions of Kentucky from parts of Shelby County down through Spencer County and over towards parts of Hardin County, dealing with some of that drizzle right now. But the main rain chance right now is for those of you in Adair County. That's where that steady light to moderate rain continues to fall. Let's look at your temperatures. As I mentioned, cool for most of us, sitting mainly in the 40s and some low 50s. For those of you in Columbia, you now have dropped down to 52 degrees. When we started sunrise at 4:30, you were at 59. So that rain certainly has done its job and helped to drop our temperatures down. As we continue throughout the day, here's what we're going to be looking at. Some more of those showers rolling through for the morning, especially for those of you in Kentucky. We'll watch some of that rain pushing towards the Ohio River as we get closer to 10, 11 o'clock. Some that may cross over into Indiana. As we get towards lunchtime, drying out a little bit more for those of you in Indiana, but still holding on to some of that rain across Kentucky. Temperatures this morning this afternoon, I should say, are going to range from those low 50s in southern Indiana to those 40s stuck underneath the rain in Kentucky. Eventually, we all dry out once we get until later on tonight. So in terms of rainfall totals, we're talking around 1/4 of an inch to 1/2 inch of rain and additional rainfall across the region. And that is it for today. Now, tomorrow, cloudy, cool, highs near 60. By Easter Sunday, though, jumping to near 70, seeing a lot more sunshine then. And as we look ahead to the next 10 days, what we're going to be looking at is more of that warmer weather arriving in the forecast. So for your Easter Sunday, yes, 70, but we'll jump into the low to mid 70s by Monday and Tuesday of next week, upper 70s by next Wednesday. Those rain chances that we were looking at, not looking as significant. We do have to keep an eye on a low off towards our south, though, towards next Tuesday and Wednesday to see how that could influence the cloud cover, because that could influence how quickly we see that warming trend going along. And by the end of next week, we're mainly talking those low to mid 80s across the area. So yeah, we're getting more into that late spring weather, even though we're basically still in mid-spring. So for today, keep the rain gear handy, especially across Kentucky, and then we'll finally get to just deal with some drier weather, much deserved drier weather, as we get into the holiday weekend. Olivia?
I am looking forward to the weekend for several reasons, I guess, now. Thank you, Tawana. Well, breaking news, we've just learned the name of the man shot and killed in West Louisville on Tuesday. Kathleen Ninke has this Wave News alert.
Olivia, he had just turned 23 years old, but on Tuesday evening in the Parkland neighborhood, he and another victim, a woman, were found shot several times on Catalpa Street. Both made it to the hospital, but we've just learned that Dennis Hall died in the hospital very soon after he arrived. We have no update on the woman's condition at this point. LMPD's investigating. Olivia.
Kathleen, thank you. Happening today, an LMPD officer who died weeks after a motorcycle crash will be laid to rest. Officer Robert Oliver died due to complications from the crash. Oliver was with LMPD for about 18 years, and before that, he served with Jeffersonville Police. Services will begin this morning at 9 o'clock at Southeast Christian Church. Oliver will be buried at the Indiana Veterans Memorial Cemetery. Fellow officers say he was a leader in the community and within the department.
He was an absolutely amazing police officer, an amazing officer, not only in here, but also in Jeffersonville. Great community member. He loved this community. He was a part of this community, and he ultimately strived to make this community better.
LMPD says Oliver was a loving son, father, grandfather, and brother. Indiana's governor signed a bill banning several types of gender-affirming care for kids. The law bans care like hormone therapy, puberty blockers, and gender transition surgeries for anyone under 18. On Tuesday, Governor Holcomb told reporters the bill on his desk was vague. The law will go into effect on July 1st. Transgender kids currently taking medication to transition will have until the end of the year to stop the treatment. At 6:17 on your Thursday morning, we're finally getting an answer on the ongoing suit into whether or not a pipeline will be built through the Bernheim Forest. What we've learned coming up.
Here's a look at the current Kentucky Lottery jackpots. The Kentucky Lottery, over $4.4 billion in grants and scholarships.
6:21 now. The cleanup begins today and all across Wave Country. You're showing us what you're up against, sending in those pictures, and Kathleen and Tawana are taking a look at some of those pictures that you sent in after yesterday's storm.
Yeah, what the everyday resident is up against, but also maybe what some transportation crews are up against. Look at this. This is on old US 60. I guess the wind did this?
Yeah, it had to be the strong wind. And keep in mind, for a storm to be severe, you need wind gusts at least of 58 miles per hour. Easily you see something like that.
I didn't know you can take down a semi like that.
Unfortunately, it happens a lot more than you think.
Wow, look at this video. It almost looks like a still shot because you just see the rain in waves coming on this poor livestock out there.
Oh, no, I feel so bad for them. Remember, in severe weather, especially as you have tornado warning, if you have to go in a safe place, I mean, I know you can't bring your horses and cows and stuff inside. I get that point. But if you can put them in a barn to make sure they're a little bit safer, and your dogs are outside, bring them inside, please do that, please.
They stuck it out like troopers, I'm sure. Look at this. Hope sent this in from south of Waterston on Bishop Lane. It looks like some windows entirely smashed out.
I don't know if just the wind did that or maybe some debris helped with the situation.
Maybe these tree branches, who knows?
I'm sure that with those straight line winds, of course, near 60+ miles per hour, especially that high off the ground, yeah, that easily can cause some issues like that.
Right. And moving up? Well, maybe not moving on.
I think we were trying to show an awesome little barn in Corden.
Yeah, you were talking about putting the animals in a barn, and there you go. Well, that's maybe what happened to your barn.
Yeah, so that's the situation that we were seeing, pretty sure in the Corden area because of the straight line winds that we saw yesterday. Well, right now we're assuming they're straight line winds. That's going to be one of those locations that the National Weather Service is going to be out and about really dealing with and surveying today.
I want to show you this, a video from Preston Highway at Fern Valley. Look at the power poles.
Just leaned over like
some of them cracked, and we have a still image that shows us a little more close up what they saw.
Yeah, so with straight line winds like this, it's not really surprising to see power poles really just snapped in half like that. And this is going to make, of course, cleaning up and putting everything, the power back on, even more time consuming.
So when your lights aren't on, remember that. Look at this Ring camera. It catches. Watch right there. You see all this blowing around, and then you see the tree. One snap, and down it goes. That was in Springfield.
Well, one good thing is that it went in between the home and the garage. I'm really happy to see that.
Not everybody got that lucky.
Yeah, so it's going to be a long cleanup process, that is for sure, after we dealt with everything that we saw yesterday.
So in the spirit of cleanup, in the spirit of hope, look at this rainbow in Hardinsburg that Amanda sent in. Maybe that's what we go into today with.
Exactly.
A little rainbow after the storm.
Yeah, just, flip it upside down and make it a smile. How's that as we get into today? Now, I know a lot of people are not going to be necessarily too happy about the rain chances that we have, but I think the rest of the 10-day will put a smile on a lot of people's faces. So here's what we have going on in terms of the 10-day. For today, yes, those rain showers around. Remember, we're not expecting any severe weather for today, just that rain around, especially for those of you in Kentucky. Cloudy and cool once we get into your Friday with highs near 60. And as we get into the upcoming weekend, gradually warming up near 70 for Easter Sunday. I'm planning having some brunch with family, so great weather for that. And as we get into next week, check it out. We're going to be talking upper 70s, low 80s for highs. So Olivia is going to be asking people to go hang out in their pools, I'm assuming.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. I already have some plans in mind. Thank you, Tawana. Fans of Bernheim Forest are disappointed over a recent judge's ruling. A Bullitt Circuit Court judge ruled that LG&E can build an underground natural gas pipeline, which cuts through a portion of the Bernheim property. LG&E originally tried to buy its way through 4,000 feet of Bernheim in 2019. A planned underground pipeline would transport natural gas to parts of Bullitt County through Bernheim's Cedar Grove Wildlife Corridor. But when Bernheim said no to the project, the company sued. People hoping to protect the forest worry that the ruling sets a bad precedent that may lead to future intrusions.
This kind of new business as usual development is just not acceptable. We have to find a better way. We have to look at sustainable development, ways to grow and prosper and thrive without destroying all the land around us.
In a statement, LG&E said it was pleased with the outcome and the pipeline will support energy needed for a growing region. If your gas tank is on E, I know mine is close, Bad news for you here. It'll cost you a little bit more to fill it up. Gas prices in the area are more than 20 cents higher than last week. According to AAA Kentucky, we're paying about $3.28 a gallon on average. Gas Buddy shows prices around $3.50 in Louisville. AAA says increased demand amid tighter supply has contributed to pushing prices higher.
You'll see prices within the Commonwealth fluctuate. Places like Louisville and Bowling Green are going to have higher prices than more rural areas of the state. And again, that comes into play with supply and demand.
Yeah, I know that's not what we want to wake up and hear. OPEC announced that it was cutting production by 1 million barrels a day through the end of 2023. 6:26 now. Louisville was not the only city in Kentucky affected by the storm yesterday. Owensboro also took a hit. We have a look at a church that's rebuilding after it was damaged. Stick with us.
This is Wave News Sunrise.
Good Thursday morning to you. Thanks for sticking with us here on Sunrise. I'm Olivia Russell in for Shannon Kogan with meteorologist Tawana Andrew. And you're saying, we're going to have some steady rain today, but I think that is such a relief compared to, the wind and all the insanity, at least compared to storms. We can handle just plain rain, right?
Yeah, we can handle just some plain rain. It's not going to be a lot of rain, and not everyone is even going to get the rain. So overall, just going to be watching some overall calmer weather, especially compared to what we saw yesterday across the region. So the cold front is still sitting over portions of Kentucky, and we're still seeing that rain riding right along it. So north of the front, a little bit of drizzle showing up, but the steady rain still showing up in portions of Dare County, and you'll see waves of it as the day goes along. Seeing some of those spotty showers from Nelson County into parts of Bullitt County over into Grayson County and LaRue County as well. And for those of you further to the north, seeing some of the sprinkles and drizzle showing up from parts of Jefferson County and Indiana through Clark County and into Harrison County as well. But if I make the radar a little bit more sensitive and zoom out, you can certainly see where a little bit more of that light rain is showing up in parts of Bullitt County and very southern portions of the metro over in the Meade County, and then also from Crawford County up towards Madison. So some drizzle that is going to continue to drift through portions of wave country throughout the morning, especially for those of you in Indiana. And then the steady rain is further to the south. Everybody in the upper 40s and the low 50s right now. Here's what we're looking at over the next 12 hours. Going to be seeing that rain around for the morning and into the afternoon. Remember, if you're in Kentucky, you have a better chance to see that rain, and the highest chance to see that rain will be for those of you south of the parkways. Once we get into the afternoon, we'll gradually be drying out, but for some of you further to the south, it may take until towards sunset to completely get rid of the rain. Temperatures today going to be hovering in the upper 40s and the low 50s. Now, once we get into the weekend, some calmer, sunnier weather will arrive. I'll let you know how long it's going to stick around in just a bit.
Sunny weather. We cannot wait, that's for sure. Thank you, Tawana. Well, people across wave country saw some severe wind and rain move through the area. That includes one apartment complex where 50 people had to leave their homes because of the damage. Wave News reporter Josh Ninke is live in PRP with more. Good morning, Josh.
Good morning, Olivia. This is the Oaks at St. Andrews, and this building behind me had the roof completely taken off during yesterday's storms. I'm going to step out of the way so you can get a closer look. We could see right into one of the apartments that are right over here. The blinds just kind of hanging there. It is nothing but insulation and roofing that has just been caved into this apartment. I popped down to see what I could see, get a little closer. There's fans down in the stairwell that is right there. This is one of those things that we spoke with one of the maintenance managers who saw this happen. He says he doesn't believe that this was tornadoes. He believes this was straight line winds that did this kind of damage. And I'm going to have my photographer, Michael Flynn, pan a little bit over this direction. You can see on the next balcony over, there's some prayer candles just sitting right there on the balcony. Our maintenance guy that we were out here with yesterday helped rescue one person from all of this. And so far, from what we understand, some people were hurt, but nobody killed in this. No one severely injured. So certainly prayers for all those as they continue to recover from this. But this is one of those things that the National Weather Service is going to be taking a closer look at throughout the day. And we know that the Red Cross is helping the people that have been displaced because of this. We've seen LG&E crews that are out trying to get the power back on for the rest of this apartment complex. So cleanup just getting started here on this Thursday morning. Live here in PRP, Josh Schninke, Wave News.
A lot of work to be done there, that's for sure. Thank you, Josh. We're getting video of more damage from across the city from yesterday's storm. This house was crushed in the Bon Air neighborhood. It's on Meadow Drive, and you can see part of the tree just splintered and landed right on top of the house. A mobile home park in southwestern Jefferson County also took a hit during the storm. This is video from Cardinal Mobile Home Park on St. Andrews Church Road. We also saw a car crunched by a telephone pole. To get an idea of how powerful this storm was, though, just take a look at this scene. As it moved past the Louisville International Airport, you can barely see anything but that whipping rain. Now to Jeffersontown, where a warehouse building took a hard hit. This is the damage left behind on Cargo Court. The roof there was heavily damaged. Debris scattered all across the parking lot. We heard from 2 women there about the moment the storm hit.
We heard a train, absolutely. I was on the top floor, and as soon as the rain started, this just big gush of wind and took the roof off.
Then the water started coming in, and we heard things crashing, dropping. And then once we made it out and started seeing all of the debris, we realized either a tornado or straight line winds. But very, very loud, very scary. I've always heard people say it was going to sound like a train, and that's exactly what it sounded like.
Louisville first responders also had their hands full during the storm. 911 dispatchers said they took more than 600 calls at the peak of the storm. Last week at the same time, only 273 total calls were made to 911. The storms brought down power lines, trees, and limbs. It even blew out a church's window. Jeff Phillips is the pastor of Legacy Owensboro Church. He says he was in his office when the rain and wind started. He went to check out the weather when a strong gust came through and blew down a wall no more than 10 feet from him.
Good Lord. This wind, it got up. I mean, it was pretty severe there for a split second. It probably didn't last 10 seconds, but it was, it was pretty severe.
Pastor Phillips was joined by youth pastor Sky Saylor, who says when the wall came down, it's hard to process what had just happened.
I've never seen anything like this, and, was just having a conversation, and next thing, the sounds that it made, it was really freaky, but, I mean, if no one got hurt, we were all safe, and even being 10 feet from the wall with glass shooting out everywhere, we didn't end up hurt at all.
Pastor Phillips said within 15 minutes, members of the church were there helping to rebuild the wall. One man named Fred Embry got right to work and even provided the wood for free. Legacy Owensboro decided not to let a fallen wall stop their Wednesday evening services from happening. A Southern Kentucky congregation is still working to recover from a major fire. The main sanctuary of Cornerstone Baptist Church in Somerset was mostly spared from the fire damage, but the firewall that spared the sanctuary 2 weeks ago was part of another incident this past weekend with the storms. Part of the wall was blown over into the roof, but church members say the damage looked worse from the outside.
It didn't come, there's kind of a roof over top of the roof on that, so that absorbed a lot of when the wall fell, but it definitely done some damage on the roof.
The pastor says the community has responded in incredible ways, offering them a new temporary place to worship. The Somerset Fire Chief says the cause of that fire still hasn't been determined. You can keep up with all the latest breaking weather and traffic by downloading the Wave Weather app. I know it came in handy yesterday on alert days, and you can find it in the Google and the Apple App Store. Luana, what are the next 12 looking like?
Over the next 12, we're going to keep an eye on some rain falling, especially in the morning and especially for those of you across Kentucky. So we're going to watch for those rounds of rain, mainly light to moderate rain at best that we're expecting for today. And we'll dry out as we get through the afternoon with temperatures trying to warm into the low 50s. So overall today is going to be a cool, cloudy, and for some of you, damp day. Now as we look at the roads, still not dealing with any significant issues across the Louisville Metro, but remember, we still have a lot of those branches down, the trees down, and a lot of those power outages out across the area. So just make sure you are being extra safe as you're heading out this morning. Olivia?
Please be safe, that's for sure. Thank you, Tawana. 6:38 now. The Louisville Slugger Museum is showing off a new gallery renovation. It's been 15 years in the making. We'll take a look coming up on Sunrise. The Derby Festival's golf event swings into action next week, and it's your annual chance to take your best shot at $1 million. The Stockyards Bank $1 million hole-in-one golf contest opens on April 13th. The contest will take place at the Seneca Golf Course driving range. There will be 10 days of qualifying rounds. It costs just $1 to take a swing, so if you ask me, it's worth it. Closest shots to the hole each day will advance to the semifinal round. The finals will be held on Tuesday, April 25th. And get this, if someone hits a hole-in-one during the finals, it's worth $1 million. I want that. Well, a fundraiser for the Kentucky Science Center will land someone box seats for this year's Kentucky Oaks and Derby. A $100 ticket gets you the chance to win a reserved, all-inclusive box. Raffle tickets will be sold online and at the Science Center's Thunder Blast event. The money raised benefits the Science Center's annual Fund for Science. So if you'd like to get in on the raffle, just look for this story on wave3.com. And we're counting down the days to the opening of the Kentucky Derby Festival. It kicks off with Thunder over Louisville in just 16 days. You can see that countdown right there on your screen, counting you down even to the second. And remember, Wade is the only place to watch the air show, drone show, and the fireworks, and maybe me dancing to this music because it's a lot of fun. The Louisville Slugger Museum and Factory is showing off a major gallery renovation, 15 years in the making. The Bat Vault, it's probably my favorite part of the entire museum. It's now doubled in size and is now included with general admission. It contains more than 3,000 bats designed by some of baseball's biggest legends. There's also new space for temporary exhibits. Right now, that's West Maine's Marvel, the story of the Big Bat, where guests can learn all about how the Hilrick and Bradsby Company moved to Main Street in 1995 and the installation of the iconic Big Bat.
It's a big day. The biggest day was when we moved to here from Indiana and we put up the Big Bat. That was a great, great day. This comes right behind it.
Among the other changes, visitors will notice updated photo ops around the museum where you can pose with MLB greats like Babe Ruth, Hank Aaron, and Derek Jeter. Next up will be a renovation of the museum store. I just love baseball season, and Tawana, I think you're going to give us some, maybe baseball weather coming up.
Yeah, we get some of that as we head into the weekend, so that's some good news there, right? Yeah. So for anybody heading out today, we're going to be watching a little bit more of that rain, but we're going to talk about the beautiful weather coming our way for the Easter weekend in just 30 seconds. Good morning, everyone. Meteorologist Tawana Andrew here with a check of your forecast. And what we're seeing across the area, the cold front, the same one responsible for the severe weather that we had yesterday, sitting off towards our southeast. And because of that, we're seeing some cooler air and still a little bit of that rain falling in parts of wave country. So in terms of the rain, it's more steady yet again for those of you in Adair County. Got a little bit of a break for about 20 minutes, and now the rain is moving right back in, seeing some more of that rain in the Greene County, parts of LaRue County, and Grayson County. It's stretches into Bullitt County and Spencer County. Same thing for those of you in Shelby County and the metro. A little bit of that drizzle at times showing up, and seeing much of the same in parts of Crawford, Harrison, Floyd, Clark, and parts of Scott and Jefferson County in Indiana. Looking towards downtown Louisville, it is quiet, it is calm right now, but we are dealing with a little bit of that rain falling down across parts of the metro, but it is, as I mentioned, very light stuff. Your temperatures are in the 40s and the low 50s, ranging from 43 degrees in Seymour to 51 at the airport in Louisville, 49 in Frankfort, and 50 degrees right now in Columbia. Here's what we're expecting throughout the rest of the day. So more of those rain showers moving further to the north as we approach around 8 a.m. mainly Kentucky. Now, some of that rain may cross over into Indiana as we get closer to 10, 11 o'clock, mainly in the form of drizzle, so we'll watch for that. Getting past lunchtime, still some of these rain showers around. Notice still mainly in Kentucky. As we get into the afternoon, since you're drier across Indiana for most of the day, you are going to be warmer for this afternoon, looking at low 50s for your afternoon highs. But everyone else stuck underneath the rain, especially for those of you further to the south, will mainly be seeing 40s, it looks like, for the second half of the day. So overall, cool for everyone. Once we get into later on tonight, we all will be dry. The clouds still overhead, though, as our temperatures do their best to fall. So on top of what we've already seen so far today, we may add an additional 1/4 inch to 1/2 inch of rain, mainly south of the parkways, and that is it. This is not a heavy rain scenario in any means. Temperatures fall down to the upper 30s and low 40s as we get into early tomorrow morning. And just a reminder, if you have allergies, The pollen counts in terms of trees will be very high for today, tomorrow, and even into Saturday. And keep in mind, since you have that dry stretch into next week as well, that is going to be a continued issue for the grass pollen, medium to high across the area for the next 3 days. So it might look pretty outside as we get into the weekend, but you might be sneezing a little bit more. Just want to make sure I throw that out there. As you get towards your Easter, plenty of sunshine in the forecast, a high near 70 degrees. We're going to climb into the 70s for the first half of next week, and for the second half of next week we could be talking about some low to mid 80s showing up for highs, which is abnormally warm for this time of the year.
So if you want to enjoy that warm weather, take the allergy medicine.
Basically.
Thank you for that reminder. I needed it. Well, there's now some new technology moving into some southern Indiana schools that will send alerts when vape smoke or loud noises are detected. Vape detectors have been installed in Greater Clark County schools in hopes to improve student safety. Vape detectors are environmental sensors that can detect any disturbance or noise that's not deemed normal at a certain location on school campuses. The devices learn those common noises in their environment and then send alerts to staff when there's a noise or disturbance it doesn't expect. GCCS Director of Facilities shares the most ideal locations for these sensors.
Any place that's hard to supervise would be a good place for one of these environmental sensors, whether it's a remote hallway, a locker room, a restroom, just any sort of location where students can escape the viewing eye of an adult is a good place for them to be located.
When an unknown disturbance is detected, a notification is sent to administrators who can address the issue at its root. Norton Healthcare patients with insurance from Cigna may find themselves paying more on their medical bills next month. Cigna sent a letter to its customers warning it has not reached an agreement on a new contract with Norton Healthcare. Cigna blames Norton for demanding higher than average prices. Cigna says if an agreement is not reached, Norton Healthcare facilities will be considered out of network for patients covered by their insurance. A Norton spokeswoman says they've spent the last year trying to reach an agreement with Cigna, but the spokeswoman says Cigna needs to pay more so Norton can cover rising costs. Norton's most recent tax return for its hospital showed the company earned more than $2.5 billion in 2021. It spent more than $2.1 billion. It's 6:49 now. 3 Americans and 1 Canadian have been selected to head back to the moon, setting up NASA for future missions to land on the moon's surface and eventually head to Mars. Inside the first mission to the moon in over 50 years, that's coming up next on the Today Show. The National Weather Service will be back out today surveying several counties in our area, and you can see them right here on this map. As of now, they've confirmed at least 1 tornado touched down in Louisville yesterday. In a press conference about the damage, Mayor Craig Greenberg says at least 1 person is dead and another is in the hospital. Louisville Metro's emergency call center received over 1,000 calls to 911. Most of them came in around 5 o'clock when a tornado touched down near Newburgh. The National Weather Service's preliminary investigation says it's at least an EF1. Strong winds broke power lines, collapsed walls, and took roofs off apartment complexes. Mayor Greenberg said in a press conference late last night that a lot of roads are blocked by trees, so crews are working to clean up and restore traffic in those areas.
Responded to well over 25 incidents specific to the storm. Several of those incidents could have included an additional 10 incidents, meaning that one incident was basically a neighborhood. There were several neighborhoods that had a lot of extensive damage with a lot of trees on the houses, a lot of power poles down.
The National Weather Service says the winds in Newburgh reached 90 miles per hour. Happening today, Louisville Metro Police are remembering the life of an officer who died weeks after a motorcycle crash. Officer Robert Oliver died due to complications from the crash. Oliver was with LMPD for 18 years, and before that, he served with Jeffersonville Police. Funeral services will begin this morning at 9 o'clock at Southeast Christian Church. Oliver will be buried at the Indiana Veterans Memorial Cemetery. Fellow officers say he was a leader in the community and within the department. April is Sexual Assault Prevention and Awareness Month, and the Center for Women and Families will have events designed to teach the community and support victims. The center was scheduled to host the community's Walk Free from Sexual Violence at the Big Fort Bridge yesterday, but the severe weather caused it to be canceled and postponed. It'll now be Wednesday, the 26th. The center will also be observing Denim Day, designed to break down the stigma about what victims of sexual violence usually wear. And this week, you can get the chance to catch 100 years of Disney magic as Disney on Ice returns to Louisville. Mickey Mouse, Minnie Mouse, and friends from the Disney Kingdom will take families on the timeless journey. Disney on Ice will perform at the KFC Yum Center April 6th through the 9th. Tickets can be purchased at Ticketmaster.com. That looks like a lot of fun if you don't like the warm weather and go inside to the ice, right, Tawana?
Yeah, I took my brother to that when he was really young, and we had a blast. So it's definitely fun for the whole family, no matter the age. What we're seeing right now across the area, some of that rain pushing through. For most of us, it is pretty light stuff, so that's some good news as we're starting off your Thursday. Over the next 12 hours, we're going to watch for a little bit more of that rain, mainly across Kentucky, as temperatures fall down into the 40s for most of us. And then we're going to sit in the 40s and low 50s for later on this afternoon as we dry out. So no big warm-up for today. Anyway, as we look ahead to the next 10 days, it's a different story. Tomorrow, cloudy, cool, highs near 60, but we can deal with that, especially as we look ahead to the upcoming weekend. We're going to be seeing some 60s for highs on Saturday, near 70 on Easter Sunday, and as we head into next week, we're going to be talking about more of those 70s and then even some low 80s trying to show up for highs.
So the weather's trying to get back in our good graces after what it did yesterday.
Honestly, it does need to apologize. So there we go.
I don't want to get too excited, though, because I'm like, oh, it feels like spring, but you never know when winter will show up again, right?
Well,
I mean, this is Louisville.
Let's be real
true.
Here. I think we're done with like the full-blown winter stuff, but I think moving forward, we probably have to keep an eye on that severe weather threat. But at least for right now, we're quiet.
Have a great Thursday.